to fix them.
Oh,
Okay, you are using the computer audio. We don't want to use the computer audio on this one. So I'm gonna.
Hello? I can't hear anything. I see your lips moving, but I think you're muted on your side.
Let's try that.
There we go.
I'm worried about the reverb. Bear with us, Hans. Oh, goodness gracious.
How about if you turn off this, if you leave that, if you.
I
turn-
did, and then you can't hear. He can't
But
hear.
now-
I can hear without reverb now. Oh,
They're still there on yours.
But we're recording here.
You can still see everyone, right?
Yep,
Okay,
and it says recording, so we're gonna go with it.
okay.
Whew, that reverb was bad. All right, Hans, so can you hear us now without that wah, wah, wah?
I hear you just fine.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me? I hear you. Can you hear me?
Hans, are you able to hear us? Lois, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay, Lois can hear us.
okay, and I
Hans,
don't,
are you still there? Okay, so he says, I hear you.
Check your volume at the bottom. Is there a volume button?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Okay, so did you have a chance to visit both properties that are here tonight for the renewal of their junkyard and automobile graveyard permits?
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay,
Yes.
so first, can we take permit number 01-22, and that is the one for Francis Frappier Jr. Map 10 lot 22D. And we.
Yeah.
And what were your thoughts? Did you have any concerns or anything that needs to be updated?
There is a condition about proximity to the railroad on both applications. It really does not apply to Francis, as his property does not go to the railroad. Aside from that, I mean, I just plan to visit more often through the year to see changes, see what's new, and what improvements can be made to the properties.
Okay.
And that's for both properties.
Okay, would you have any questions with us renewing the permit applications this evening? Is there anything that needs to be remedied before we can approve?
There is not. I've had conversations with Raymond, and I think we're on the same page about moving forward.
Okay,
But I think them having the permits is to the benefit of all parties.
okay. Thank you, I appreciate that. All right. So, did any of the abutters have any questions or concerns?
I talked with Hans and I'm fine with what's happening.
Okay. So no other concerns,
And that's Lois Hazlett.
and that's Lois Hazlett. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the first application for Francis Frappier Jr.?
The only thing I noticed, didn't have what year it was established. on the application. It does on the second one, it didn't on the first one. I don't know if that's germane to what we're doing, but. Do you know which one of you, which one it was
No.
established?
That's my brother.
Okay,
And mine, we let mine lapse, so we had to renew it. I don't remember how many years ago we had got it back in, up and going. I guess I gotta talk more with your code enforcement officer, because I do have a couple things that we gotta straighten out.
Okay,
So I just wanna make sure we all get on the same page, Lane. I wanna get it cleaned up and do whatever I gotta do.
okay.
You know, the tire pile, because I got some tires that we pushed dirt on top of them. So I was in the process today of digging them out. I lost a transmission in my backhoe. So.
That's my kind of luck.
Yeah, so that kind of put me in the hole, but I got the tractor in the garage, all tore apart, trying to get parts for it, to get it back up so I can keep going. There's a few that he wants me to drain. Ones we're not gonna use, like, he told, I think, I don't wanna get myself wrong, but he said as long as I had tires on them and I could start them, I didn't have to drain. I wanna make sure I'm saying that right.
Hans,
I
Did you-
concur.
he concurs. So as long as they have tires on them and they're startable, they don't have to be drained.
Okay, the ones don't have tires and stuff, they'll be drained. It's gonna take me a little while, because like I said, I just lost transmission on my tractor. I usually have a dumpster there, but the company I use in Oakland, One Steel, they don't have them right now. So we're trying to get one, so I can get some cleaned up. Because usually I have it cleaned up before snow, and that's what we're working on right now. All my oil, all the vehicles get drained inside. I burn the waste oil in my waste oil furnace. Antifreeze is recycled and reused, windshield wash fluid is reused. And we keep it all inside, not outside.
Okay.
so yours is 22C. Okay,
So Melanie, was that Ray talking?
Yeah, that was Ray talking. Francis isn't here.
Okay,
So were there any concerns, Hans, with Francis's property?
Nothing that would prevent him from being permitted today,
Okay,
but there will be some ongoing dialogue and oversight.
okay. We appreciate that. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, so I think we kind of took these up at the same time. And do we have, we normally ask that is there a reason why Francis can't be here tonight?
He just had surgery, he had hernia surgery,
Okay,
I do know that.
and it's not on remotely. So you're not very tech savvy with a computer? I don't think I've ever seen him on one, so. All right. What are your folks' thoughts? Are you okay moving forward without him being here? Or it's not a
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
time
I think so.
application?
It's
So we ready for a motion?
Yep, so I will take a motion to exit the public hearing. Okay, moved and seconded. And I will make a motion that we approve the permit for Francis Frappier, map 10, lot 22D, and the permit number is 01-2022.
Second,
Okay, let me seconded by Carol. All those in favor? Barbara?
Yes.
Carol?
yes.
All right, 3 yeses. All right, next we have application number 02-22, Raymond Frappier, map 10, lot 22C. I'll make a motion that we approve that reapplication.
Second,
Moved and seconded by Carol. All those in, if there's any more of the discussion? All right, seeing none. Barbara?
Yes.
Carol?
yes.
And 3. So 3 yeses. You folks are all set. I appreciate you working with the new code enforcement officer too.
Well, I mean, I don't want to lose, it's gonna be impossible to get one back.
Right.
So I want to get everything going the way it's supposed to. I mean, I know the tire pile, because I put dirt on top of it, and I will
Right.
clean it up. And like you said, the cars that gotta be drained, we will drain them, and I got a bunch of blockings, but they put them up off the ground,
Okay.
so they're not set right on the ground, rotting into the ground.
you know,
Right,
And I'll keep in contact with them until it's done.
perfect.
So we can keep things straight around.
And congrats on your new family member.
Thank
You are
you.
welcome.
It's a handful.
Well, you know what? Usually the ones that are worth the most, they're not the easiest.
New to me because he's nonverbal and it's
Yep,
really different, but we're gaining.
I got faith in you guys. Thank you. You guys have a great night. All right, I'll take a motion to open the select board meeting.
Before we finish, is it, I'm assuming the Hans has the conditions documented somewhere,
Yes,
so we can go back and,
I believe they're approved
Um,
paperwork that you'll sign.
Hans, go ahead.
It's in the folder.
the conditions are basically the terms of their, application and permit. So the conditions, you know, their permits are conditional that they follow certain guidelines and rules. And, some of them, we're gonna pay a lot closer attention to, but most of them have been met. And as you could tell from Ray, he knows the rules and, he's aware of what's gotten away from him. And, it's nothing that can't be fixed.
Okay, I appreciate knowing that, and I, just listening to him tonight, he's aware of it and he has a plan in place, and so I appreciate, you working with them and them working with you.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'll take a motion to open the select board meeting.
so move.
Moved by Carol, seconded by Barbara. All right, all those in favor? Barbara? Carol?
Yes.
All right, 3 yeses. We are open for business. Okay, so first up under old business is the sand and salt agreement. I will make a motion to table that to the 11/1 meeting. David Stevens is not available this evening. He's out of town. So I will make that motion that we table that to November 1st. And, okay, moved and seconded. And one follow-up is at that meeting, I would also like to have a copy of the original agreement that is referenced in this contract. So if we're looking at, and we probably, let me see. So, and I also want to check the date of it because we have a 3-year period that ends December 31, 2022. But it says the RFP was September 8 of 2020. And if it's a 3-year term, it doesn't make sense to me that that would expire in 2022 and not 2023. So that's why I'd like to see the original agreement and make sure that we're at the point where we need an extension. So if we can have that for the next meeting, that would be awesome. But, okay, so all those in favor of tabling that and gathering the extra information? Barbara?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And 3. So 3 yeses, 1 absent, or 2 absent, sorry. All right, next up, we have new business. First under new business is to review the Town of Belgrade Board of Select Persons meeting minutes from the October 4, 2022 meeting. Make a motion to open that item.
So move.
Moved and seconded. That item is open for discussion. So one thing I noticed is Victoria's iPad. Do we know who that is?
Yeah, Corey.
I thought that was Corey, but then we also have Corey listed as a participant. So I guess we can get rid of Victoria's iPad. I thought it
I'm pretty
was,
sure- Isn't that
I'll check with.
Or
his
that-
his wife is Victoria?
I thought so.
Yeah.
So double check on
Maybe
that.
we should have a little lesson in how to rename devices.
Yeah, I had that as, we should find out who that really is.
And then on page 2, so where we have the third down where it says Chair Melanie Jewell motion to approve expending $21,717 from Facilities Reserve and taking the remainder And it should be the remainder of $1,743 to total $23,460.
Mhm.
I'm afraid the way that's written, it looks like we're
Right.
taking 23 grand, like we've got a serious slush fund. So the remainder of $1,743 to total $23,460.
Okay, what was it,
43. And then the side, and then the second part of that is under that, we also motion to use the remaining funds from the select board's fund to use for the exclusion and seal up and cosmetics, but I never saw anything that said how much was in there. So I'm not sure what our amount is for that. And I wasn't sure if,
I don't think we have the exact amount.
we didn't have it at the meeting. So my side note here is, do we know how much was in there?
I think you thought you had spent a very small amount and there was 6,000 or 7,000.
I was thinking there was around
Right.
7, but I don't know that.
So
Well,
He actually sent something out on an email or something. I saw something after the meeting. I don't remember where it was, but we had only used $500 or $600 out of it.
Yeah.
okay, because I thought what we got was like a revenue and expenses, and I wondered if we could get a balances.
I know I don't have it left in my phone,
Let's see.
but I do remember seeing something after that meeting showing that we hadn't spent a whole lot of that select board fund.
Okay, so I just want to make sure, if you can maybe, Lorna, just put that in a little note there, just to let us know how much was there, and if that is cleaned out. That was all I had on that one, I think. Oh, and then this last part was on page 4, where we had the board agreed to have the town manager either send a letter of condolence or a card. And I think what we agreed to is that that would be signed by the board and not by the town manager. So nothing has gone out yet, I hope.
No.
Okay, because that should be signed by the board.
Board and the town manager, or just-
It could be the board and the town manager, but I don't think it should be just the town manager, especially we've got a history with the Hammonds, but where Lorna's relatively new, they might look at that like, you know, that we didn't care to sign it, but we do. Did anyone else have anything else on those minutes?
Yeah, I already told him. I had a little clerical thing.
You got a promotion.
I got a promotion to chair. Every time I'm mentioned, it's chair instead
I
of.
go through and I
I
search.
said,
I
woo-hoo.
search
Which
search
yelling
the
at me.
name. When I type them, I search the name and then I say, okay, and replace with. So I make sure everybody's title. I forgot mine.
So that you're the chair of vice, is that what
I
you're saying?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Out of the fund as of September.
I was gonna say, I thought there was just 400 or 500 out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to even be that much,
Okay.
but I knew it wasn't much.
Perfect. Thank you. And where did that come from, Bruce? Is that when I?
That's out of the budget, the draft budget,
Okay,
the budget committee.
because I don't remember seeing that, and that's why I was kind of like, how much
It's
is?
kinda Sunday, so.
All right, so if there's no more discussion on that, Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 absent. Okay, next up, we have review and consideration of a media policy. I'll take a motion to open that item.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved in second, that item is open for discussion. So one of the questions that I have on this is we have a public information officer, and that is Jeremy Dameron. So it is not the town manager. And the Freedom of Information agent is the town clerk, I believe. Is anyone aware of anything different?
I'd have to pull up
Okay, it is the town clerk.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He should have.
So
I
any,
should have brought my book with me. That's all the policies in it.
And mine is at home.
Yeah.
Do you have your policy book, Barbara? No.
There's one, I don't know, Ricky or anyone.
I think there's one right behind Mary's desk, I think, on that.
I'd just like to see public information officer spelled out the first time. 'Cause it just says hereinafter known as, or hereinafter referred to as the PIO.
Right.
So I think we just need to make sure that everybody knows the PIO is the public information officer.
But if we have one, then we should change it to
Jeremy Dameron.
Jeremy Dameron or the
But
town manager.
why is it Jeremy Dameron if it's dealing with media and newspaper reporters and that sort of thing? Wouldn't Jeremy Dameron be more emergency?
Emergency or fire department.
So,
He's not the fire, he basically, he's the one that puts out the warrants and stuff like that, what does all the posting.
Oh, okay.
right, and he is appointed as our public information officer, and there's a small stipend that he receives.
But that's different from someone who deals with the media.
So I think we can just not refer to it as the PIO, the town manager, under the direction of the sound board.
Right.
Just take that under the direction of the PIO out and
And I also.
then delete it other places where it's referenced. Wouldn't that do it?
And I do want for us to also be clear that the town's policy has not been to overly engage with the media, because it has not always fared well for the town of Belgrade. So one of the inquiries, it says inquiries from the news media are given a high priority. They are not. So, and I don't want for us to revert backwards where too much information is out. So one of the things I was just saying here, Dan, is that the policy of the town in the past has been that we did not have an open dialogue with the media.
Right.
And that, and I'm not sure, I mean, is it the pleasure of this board that we continue in that practice? That we don't,
I mean, I think we need to get back to the media. I mean, we want to be able to respond
We
to
need to
Yeah.
respond.
questions.
But we don't
and
want
concerns.
department heads or anything else just responding without it going
Well, no,
through.
'cause this
No,
is
no.
saying everything comes back through, but
Right.
we could just say the news meter will be given priority by the town and take out high. So it doesn't, that might. But if we get an inquiry, we don't want to hear,
Or
the
just
town of
say-
Belgrade did not respond.
Or just say inquiries from the newsletter, from the news media should be responded to
As quickly or as
quickly
possible by,
and
as,
efficiently as
yeah.
possible, as practical,
yeah, we could
without
just
saying that it's a priority.
take that, are given high priority by the town out. Is that,
Why do we need to say it's a priority? Why do we need to say it's a priority?
You don't. This is just a draft.
Okay.
yeah,
So It's a work.
Yeah, this is a work in
It's
progress,
to-
so that's
it's a
why it was-
Something to
Okay.
start with and mold it how you prefer it.
so if we go with inquiries by the news media should be, and cross out that
Or give-
clump in between.
Yeah, but also, and media inquires, it should be inquiries with an IRIES.
where's that?
Number 4, the heading, media inquires.
Oh,
Should
inquiry.
be inquiries. And the same with number 5, controversial inquiries. Right?
Yes.
And then we just keep crossing out PIO.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, our public information officer,
Jeremy.
Jeremy, but all he did, as part of what he does, is go around posting.
Right, but this is
Stuff.
different, this is
Right.
referring to media.
Right, media should have nothing to do with.
Right, so we just said to take out
Yeah.
every reference to PIO, because that's a different.
Yeah.
Whole different person.
And should we say maybe after consulting with the select board and or town attorney? Because we don't necessarily need to respond, have the town attorney respond to this sort of infers that the town attorney is going to be involved in every meeting inquiring.
No, this is sensitive or controversial. This is the heading of sensitive or controversial inquiries.
Oh, okay. So this is obligating us to talk to the town attorney. I'm just thinking after his comment that we sort of used up our
Right.
good graces. I'm not sure we want to obligate ourselves to always have to do that.
You could say, as you mentioned, select board and
Or town attorney, then we're not obligated to make
Right.
that call.
Right.
If it's something that's clear cut. And then
Okay,
the
but-
second paragraph does say we would go to a town attorney. Second paragraph under number 6. Inquiries regarding pending litigation, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
should be referred to the town attorney and the select board. So,
Yeah,
Then
they
in the
should.
next sentence, inquiries regarding personnel information should be referred to the town manager.
town manager, who will notify the select board.
And then inquiries regarding election and campaign issues. Is that the PIO, the election issues?
So can I ask who's on iPhone 2? So the person that just entered the meeting under iPhone 2 as a header, can you identify yourself? I guess not.
Okay. Inquiries regarding election or campaign issues should be referred to the,
Town clerk or deputy town clerk. So is that a proper chain to go to the public information officer? If it's concerning an election?
Well, then, again, public information, you're gonna have town manager instead of PIO there.
Okay,
That's just not something that Jeremy
okay.
does.
Inquiries
It's
regarding
part of
elections
that.
should be referred to. Shouldn't everything filter through the town manager? The town manager could
What?
consult with the town clerk?
In elections, you got an election clerk though.
Right.
Right, she's register of voters and she
Oh,
runs
so
all of
she
our
has-
elections,
okay.
so
So
she would
that,
be.
she would probably be the
if-
point of contact and then
If
it
a
would filter.
newspaper calls for results or anything like that, they're going to contact the town clerk
Okay.
because she's the one running the election. That's how they usually do it.
So then, if we do that, the town clerk will contact the town
So Melanie,
manager.
Yep, just 1 second, Mary.
town
yes,
attorney, select board.
So iPhone number 2, who just joined the meeting again, can you identify yourself, please? So the person who's in the meeting as iPhone 2, can you please identify yourself? Well, they're not coming back.
You gone again?
Gone again.
Okay.
okay, well, don't let them know.
Okay. Okay, so Mary, what were you going to say?
no, I was just gonna say, as the town clerk, I am in charge of all the election and campaign information. I mean, if it's something that's controversial, then I can see that going through, but I am the spokesperson for that piece, so the registrar, which would be Charlene, I mean, she would answer any questions regarding voter registration. So I just want to make it clear that I have every legal right to respond to those.
We would expect for you to do so.
Okay, very good.
But that you would contact the town manager, town attorney, and select board as appropriate.
If there was something controversial, I mean, I guess I'm not sure, you know, I should be able to answer questions, general election questions, without having to go through all those avenues.
Right,
No, but
if
I
somebody
think
calls
it's-
up and wants to know what the voter count was, you know, who won the election,
Yeah,
it doesn't need to go to all of us.
No,
right.
but it says
Right.
town clerk contact, it doesn't say get
Right.
permission from, it
Right.
says just
If appropriate.
contact as
appropriate.
appropriate.
Okay,
In information that you need to relay, that you would do that.
And I would, before we issue any press release or media advisories or anything, that needs to not just, that's got to be town manager and the select board. I feel like before we initiate media contact, as I say, we've kept our head down and it's done us well. Because 10 years ago was not the case.
Okay, so but going back to number 8, there are a couple of references to PIO that should be changed to town manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just keep crossing those out.
And number 9.
Well, and thinking, we're not saying anything here about an email inquiry or Facebook inquiry. We're talking about TV, radio, and newspaper, but we're not addressing the fact that of social media contacts, which we probably should if we're setting a policy.
Well,
So-
remember, see
Inquiry.
social media policy, under the last part of it, see social media policy.
Well, don't you-
The social media is not,
well, I'm
is
just,
not press. I mean, a press, some sort of, media could contact us via social media, but social media as an entity is not something.
just wondering if we need to address it now instead of having to come back and address it later.
But it says.
so those,
we have a social media policy.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Mayor.
those inquiries that come in through social media, I am the public information officer and I have to document those. And then I have so much time to respond to those. I mean, if it's something of a nature that is beyond me, then I would take that to the town manager. But for the most part, I am the person responsible for responding to those as the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, so you are the
FOIA.
FOIA.
I am the FOIA, that is
Yep.
correct,
So, and Jeremy is the public information officer.
correct.
Okay. And do. And I would say all media plans and publicity initiatives must be determined by the town manager working in conjunction with department representatives and the select board, period. Because under generating information, social media page is in there.
But for instance, media plans, publishing initiatives, do we need to weigh in on plans to publicize the craft fairs or the concerts or anything like that? If we leave it as needed, then.
Right.
Then that leaves that open for interpretation. We need to know what information is going out from the town on the town's behalf.
So we're gonna review every press release that goes out?
Or we're gonna at least be noticed that this is the press release that we're intending to put out. And then if the board has a concern, we get to weigh in.
I don't know quite why that's necessary. That seems kind of like adding another layer for routine.
I mean, if we want to say there's going to be,
Flyers for craft fairs and things like that,
I don't think we need to, you know,
I mean,
or
a
the
copy,
movie.
it would be nice to have them forward a copy to us. You know,
Yeah,
when-
but to not be consultative. Like when they're doing the movie, what movie's going to be at the senior movie day?
I guess I'm not reading that the same. Media plans and publicity initiatives to me do not sound like, hey, craft fair every Sunday on the village green. That to me reads as more of like a plan to engage the media with something that the town of Belgrade has going on, or an initiative. To me does
I think
not,
It's an initiative to publicize the craft, to publicize the
Craft
craft fairs.
fair
I
or
think
the-
you can read it that way.
Or the senior, if we leave the as needed, then
Right.
it allows what we would call the simple ones to just,
Right,
be
because
done.
the town manager is going to have to approve everything that goes out.
right,
And so it would be the town manager's discretion as to
whether we,
what we would
announce
need to
the-
weigh in on before it goes out.
I'm gonna need more clarity on that. So exactly what is a publicity initiative and a media plan? What would that entail? And we have all information must be disseminated on the town, on official town template website page. Who's handling our website?
For the most part, Mary, you do a lot on the website. I've been adding some things.
Yeah, and Nick does work on it too.
There are several of us in there.
Okay, so we may want to tweak that. That's a little bit outside of this, but Nick and Mary were filling in the interim, so we may have to pull back a little bit on that. Hey there, Randy. All right, thanks for joining us. And
Do you want me to do a revised draft and send that out to you with these changes?
yeah, and I think what we could do is do the changes and then bring it forward under old business to the next meeting. We'll keep kind of tweaking it and working on it until,
And do you want to have explanation of media plans and publicity initiatives?
yeah,
You want to flesh out that first bullet?
yeah. All right, is there anything else that anyone sees that we want to tweak right now?
do we, I mean, we have a social media policy. I think it would be good to look at that in conjunction with this, instead of saying, see it, that we include it. that it's-
Yeah, so if we can include that at the next
So
meeting.
it's
so
part
that
of the
we-
whole thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Public safety looks good. The only thing that I'd change on that is
the-
incidents should follow this, but say we get an inspection and they find violations or something, that shouldn't be done by the chief to the press. That should go through the town manager. Because it,
We just
We
to
don't
get
need
the
to,
phone
I
number
don't
for
think
the
we
fire
need to notify the
inquiries.
police. I mean,
no, but I'm saying if,
On the last
if
page.
somebody
Public safety.
hears it
Here's
and
it,
comes
the
back, yeah.
press comes in, I don't think it should go to the town manager, and then the town manager can, in conjunction with the chief, or somebody can release information on things like that. But incidents, yeah, it has to go through the chief, 'cause that's who's gonna know what's going on.
All right. Are we all set with that one for now? All right, then let's move on to the RFP for the winter plowing contract for 2024 to 2027. Take a motion, to open that item.
So moved.
All right, moved in second, that is open for discussion.
This is hoping against hope that we'll find someone to bid on this. You never know.
I think that if somebody is willing to bid a year and a half out and hold their price, that we will be holding our breath to get that. But I also am not going to be swayed into pushing something before the voters that we have 2 months to create. But it will be interesting to see if we do get anybody who says that they're willing to throw their hat in the ring for that. It's not a bad idea to gather some support.
Well,
And-
or to say, we put this out to X amount of people and no one is interested. That's
Or we say
equally
that no one,
powerful in the discussion.
or we say that no one is interested in October of 2022 to submit a bid for 2024 with the volatility of the market and fuel
Mhm.
and all of those other pieces that go into it. Did we see, there's something in here about the salt we had
Oh, okay.
the salt priority roads for Belgrade. And that's something that we are gonna
On
want
page
to,
5 is salt priority loop.
okay, yeah, and we wanted to get rid of that loop, correct? Because we had done the salt priority loop as a trial to see if those roads stayed more clear than the roads that were not salt priority, and it's not proved to be the case.
No, and that will make a big difference on the bidding because people, when you do salt priority, they bid a little cheaper because they don't have to close on as many times. So
Okay.
that can make sure, you know, if it's not salt priority, make sure it's in black and white, so the bidder knows that.
So I'm sorry, so you're saying we should keep the salt priority loop?
No, absolutely not. Sandstone forever.
Okay,
So
so,
we just delete that, just X out that whole.
yeah, so one of the
section of the
10-wheeler
10-wheeler
trucks will
trucks.
use straight salt, so this salt priority loop is gonna come out of the contract.
So on page
So it'll
5,
be all the
we're
way
gonna
down to number
take
4.
out,
That paragraph.
we're gonna take out everything down to number 4,
To number
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
right?
And if you don't need that 10-wheeler set up for salt priorities, we can reduce the number of trucks and the specs on the page before, right? You don't need, you don't
But
want
does
to
it
need
say
that
there
extra
need to
truck.
be 6 full size and then smaller ones as needed? Yeah, a minimum of 6 trucks and 2 10-wheelers.
And-
4 single axle.
Do we have, is this the same contract that we used
Previously, yes.
previously?
I just,
Okay.
I pulled it and just changed these.
But again, do we need to reduce the number of trucks?
Because that's a lot of trucks to be asking for as well.
Two 10.
There's 2 10-wheelers, but if you
So
look at the
one
salt and the
10
salt priority, it says one of them has to be specifically for the salt priority. So,
But would you then not need it to use,
Well, basically, I believe the 2 10-wheelers is one for North End, one for like the West Road, because that's the longest. If you want, you know, it's the longest drive out to the north end, so you're not getting multiple trips. I mean, it's up to the contractor, if they want to bid it and do it all single axles, that's up to them, it's just gonna take longer for them to. But I think the other part in the past, and I wish Ricky probably could speak on this more, but I think the reason of the 6 trucks is so they have 2 spare trucks if one.
In
if they
case
have
one
breakdowns.
breaks. That's
I
what I,
think that's what the 6 trucks is for, because I know on Public Works, the discussion is going with 4 trucks. So really, all you need is 4 trucks to do the town, but, you know, being a contractor, most contractors use trucks, so I think that's why people always
well,
contract.
because when one's down, we don't know.
Right.
Right. Okay.
okay,
But I don't think you may want to take the wheelers out of it just because a lot of these issues with getting contractors is because CDL licenses. And they can now get single X trucks that don't require CDL.
Yeah, I mean, they're only requiring a 70-yard capacity, so they really don't need a wheeler.
Right.
You're not gonna be pulling 16 yards, so.
Exactly. No, I would, if it was me, I'd let them specify what they wanted to run, if they wanted to run,
So basically, we put down six,
Six
sing,
trucks.
single,
Six trucks.
single or double axle or combination thereof,
there you go.
and that way they can have any combination they want.
Okay, so single.
You have to even put that in, total of 6 trucks.
All trucks
Well-
should be at
All
least
trucks should be
7-yard
7-yard
capacity, is that
capacity.
enough?
And you don't have to have any.
Yeah, I mean,
They're either
either
gonna be
way,
single or
however you
double.
want to write it, but yeah, that way they just, they don't have to have.
Take
those.
that part out.
Take out that one line.
Including.
Including
say
2
all
and
trucks
4
should
single
be-
axle. So they need 6 trucks, which should be at least 7-yard capacity and equipped with plow wing sander.
I don't know.
Where do
So
we use
we're
the
really saying
grader?
they should have 6 and 3, 9
Does that
trucks.
plowing contractor use the grader?
As if you get ice build up, or you gotta push your banks back.
Okay, yeah, that's what I usually call Ricky in
Usually,
once a winter. Never mind.
yeah, usually it's a west road, usually.
My
years
driveway.
ago it was a yeah, west road, just get ice build out.
The wind from All Ghetto. Okay. Now, all the 6 trucks use the sand salt trucks must be capable of holding liquid brine solution. Are we gonna be using a liquid brine solution if we're not
That's only
doing?
on Salt Priority, correct?
Right,
I'm not sure on that.
and that's why we had, when we went to the salt priority, that was why the Warren Brothers, I remember that meeting up in North Belgrade, and they agreed to outfit a truck with that brine solution, but the problem with that is once it's outfitted for that, then they can't use it for anything else.
It's expensive.
And have
Right.
we used a brine solution?
We paid for a portion of the outfit on that. I remember the town threw in so that all of that wouldn't go on the Warren Brothers.
Right, but again, have we been using a brine solution? When was the last time we put down a brine solution?
I haven't seen brine solution. I've been behind them when straight salt's coming out.
And usually brine solution goes down before the storm.
Right, it
Right,
should go
And
down.
I haven't seen anything come through that we've been paying for any solutions, so.
Could remove that.
We should probably check with the Warren Brothers and just see
Mhm.
if they are, because they were required to outfit the trucks for the brine solution. So if they've done so where they've used it, because I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, if we should have,
I think you want to use brine solution if you're doing a Salt Priority.
because the brine solution, well, we had gone to that because like on 95 and in the city of Augusta, they put the brine solution down first
Yeah, before the storm.
before the storm because it heats up the road surface temperature. So we should find out from them if there are any roads that we are using that on, just to be on the safe side maybe before we.
Yeah. if we're
Does
not
the
using it.
state do that on 27?
Yes.
So if we end up taking over some of that, we'd have to make sure we have a truck that had that
If
capability,
you
right?
got, if we're gonna stay as private contractors doing the plowing, as far as I'm concerned, Town of Belgrade has no interest in 27 Route 8 and 11. If Town of Belgrade can have their own public works, then
Right.
that's something you can negotiate with DLT, but if we're gonna have no private contractor,
Not with a private, okay.
you will never get a private contractor that even think that, I mean, we got very slim chance of getting bid now, but if you add 27 Route 8 and 11, you'll never get a contract.
Okay.
So,
And is our payment schedule one that has ever created a problem? Anyone complained about the percentages and the way we pay?
I do not know that.
I mean, I don't know, it just seems 10, 5, 5, 7.5, 7.5. I didn't know if that was ever an issue or not.
I'm very glad for finding about it.
Do we usually have the contractor filling the sandbox? Seems like we've been doing
Now
it.
the contractor is responsible for it.
Yeah.
It's been in every contract,
Okay.
because I know that was kind of a specular on the last contract with Warren was. I know at times, if it's in between storms, facility is filled up.
Right, that's what I was thinking is that we were. Okay.
So is that different from the town agreeing to furnish all her screen and mixed and stuff? The contractor.
What's that?
So we furnish it, but the contract.
Fills the box that people get put back in buckets out of.
Okay. Oh, fills the buckets. Okay, got it.
One thing I don't see on here, maybe I missed it, I'd like to see this, I'd like to see a housekeeping clause.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
there is a
that's-
the housekeeping clause is in the sand salt mix one.
Yeah, but the guys that are plowing the roads go in there, scoop it out, burn it out and dump it in their truck.
Right. Or if
So,
they're the ones responsible for filling the
sandbox,
salt sandbox and
So
has
we ought
been
to
a
have
mess.
some kind of a
Yeah,
clause
Yeah.
in there, because if we gotta have somebody go clean up a bunch of mess that they made,
we had to do that last one.
And then the boulders went up. Okay, so we've got to add a housekeeping clause. Is there anything else that anyone sees on this? So what we should probably do is bring this back to the November 1st meeting and then put it out to bid from there. Do you think?
yeah, that's fine with me, I mean, it's still a year.
Yeah, but it's gonna take some time. If you're gonna do public work, you're not gonna do public work in 2 months.
No,
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta start.
no,
This is here just to get information, see if any of these big companies are interested.
Right.
in-
but I think 2 weeks, I think we're
Right.
all right. with
Yeah,
2 weeks.
as long as you get it back, so we can have it for budgetary stuff,
Yeah.
with budget. That's all basic thing we're looking for.
Well, that's why I said, well, let's put it on there. Let's talk about it and then we can go from there. All right. Does anybody else have anything else on that they want to see tweaked? Or if anything pops up, we can let Lorna know before the next meeting. All right, moving on. So an RFP for the fuel contract 2022 and 2023. Now, I did ask that we put this on here because every year we do put it on here. We do have the right as the board to decide if we're going to put it out for RFP or not. We have decided in the past that we didn't always put it out.
We've waited about 3 weeks too long.
Yeah, I think Augusta Fuel said that they've locked in our price right now,
They did.
so.
So, and that's where
On
we're,
fuel oil or just propane? Last time I knew it was just for the propane.
so just,
I don't remember the email we got. It
yeah,
was fuel oil, wasn't it?
Because I know I checked cash prices Monday and they range anywhere from 518 to 579.
I know Paul had answered her email
And they
back
were-
saying I locked it in at a certain price for you. So. again,
Hopefully it was in the low 4s or the upper 3s.
I think it was 325 seems to be in my
Yeah,
head.
okay, because that's what I could have,
And,
I could have got from paving for that. But yeah.
Yeah, because I
and,
had asked Lorna about a week or so ago. 'Cause I couldn't- you know,
okay,
prices of fuel starting to go back up. What's going on with this? That's when she got a hold of Paul.
okay, so he said, so this is Paul Netto from Augusta Fuel. I'm quite sure that I have the town capped ceiling priced at 380. I believe with no cap fee, which means it will never go higher than 380, but if the town's discount price is lower, which it has been, then the town receives the lower price. And did he follow up with anything after that?
I think he said he was on vacation or something. in that
Yeah,
email.
it was in Washington. Did we hear anything from
I
him?
haven't heard any more
on-
from him
So
since
if you
he
can sign the
started.
contract, I'd be signing it. I wouldn't even, it's just my opinion, I wouldn't even send it out, because what today's fuel prices is, you're not gonna get that cap.
Yeah, I
anywhere
mean,
else.
diesel just went up, it's just under $6 a gallon in Augusta here.
Well, and that is just on, is that just on heating oil? So we do need to get a price for
Off-road.
propane and off-road diesel.
Yeah, off-road diesel is the same thing as fuel oil.
Yeah, it's
Right, so
ridiculous
that
stuff.
should be the same.
So we check and see if he may have already locked the price in for us on
Right,
propane too.
I think he did that, my understanding of propane, he did back a while ago. You'd have to go back, I think he did that when Dennis, last week Dennis, last meeting Dennis was at, he had locked in the propane price at that point. Paul did. I think it was Dennis's last meeting.
I don't think putting it out for bid right now would do us any good.
That was one of the things I want to speak on. I was gonna say,
yeah.
not best, I mean, yes. But who's gonna have to, well, I was recommend a price shop and buy it as needed, but he's got it. At that price, I would definitely sign a contract.
Mhm. I'll just see if I see anything in here quickly. So I guess, Lorna, can you reach out to Paul
Absolutely.
Nato? And so, but I want to get the rest of the board's opinion. Do you think we should put this out for an RFP? Or,
Doesn't seem.
Doesn't seem as though
I think if
Well,
it's
and I
locked in,
feel like-
if it's locked in at the prices he's given us, I say just, I would say recommend we just let Lana sign the contract.
well, that's what I would say too, because I
Just get it
feel like
done,
Paul
yeah.
has always treated the
That's my strong
And he has
recommendation.
always said, when you're a member of a town and you have the ability to help the town, but he tells me he won't get on the board until he fully retires, and then it will be at least 2 years after that, because he'll be retired before he does anything else. So, okay, so I just want to make sure that every year this comes up, we at least have the discussion on whether we're going to push it out to anybody else. We've not had, anytime that we have done it, there's been a big disparity between what we've got back, what we've received back, so. Okay, so I will take a motion, I will make a motion that we approve signing a contract with Augusta Fuel for a cap price of $3.80 a gallon for heating oil and off-road diesel. And that the town manager check with Paul Nato from Augusta Fuel Company to see if we can lock in a price for propane as well.
second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses and 1 absent. All right, next, we have the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program. And Randy Marshall, is it? Randy Marshall's here to talk on that, so I'll take a motion to open that item.
So moved.
Dan seconded, that item is open for discussion. All right, lay it on down for us, Randy.
Well, the fire department's been, we use air packs, that's how we're going, with not only our incidents, but with our mutual aid partners. We have been using second and sometimes third hand air packs for decades. So when I was approached by the chief, because I've got a little bit of experience writing grants, I thought I'd take that on and try to get some funding. And this is the third time that we've applied, and we were granted $104,900. And we were granted $104,904.76. That's the total of our grant. These air packs are somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000 a piece, and we have a need for 17. The grant, with the fiscal climate that's going on right now, it's expected that there's going to be a price increase probably of about 6%. We have some vendors that are interested in bidding it. You know, we work with a few people to do repairs and whatnot, so we have sources available. So I wanted to get it to the town to get the approval to pursue an RFP and work this process. I'd like to get it out sooner than later before the prices really start going up. So the total cost of the whole project estimated last year was $110,100 and change. The federal share is 95%, the town's share is 5%. So that's a pretty good deal on state-of-the-art equipment. In a nutshell, that's what it is.
Okay.
It also gives us the capability to participate in the rapid intervention team, which, you know, when you have a big fire, calls for mutual aid, and we start doing interior fire attack, part of the command officer's responsibility is to call for rapid intervention. What that team does is it's postured to go rescue firefighters that are down and then pull them out of the hazard. And part of that process is to have a connection on your regulator so you can start connecting their bottle when they run out of air or low air into yours and you're making an exit. You're not fighting fire, you're getting them out. We don't have that capability. So this will do all of that. It will be a significant upgrade for the department.
So we're looking at, I just did 104,000 divided by 17. That's about $6,117 per thing. And you said they were between 6 and
Well, the
7 per.
total project cost was 110,000, and that's where, you know, it's 6,400 to 7,000, and there's going to be a price increase. But still, you know, when the federal is going to pay 95% of the bill, it's pretty much a no-brainer in my view. I've been a firefighter since '79 on the federal side for 38 years, and this is a real big one for the town if we can pursue that.
Yeah. So I guess what I was going to say then is we want to make sure whatever the difference is once the bids come in so that we could budget for that with the fire department budget for next year if there's going to be overage there that the town needs to cover because that'll be an expenditure we don't normally have.
Yeah, I know the chief has a plan, but I'm not privy to that.
You also can take out capital reserve also,
Okay.
because that's for equipment.
Oh, there you go.
And then I would
And
just
if you get
suggest
them by the
for
end of the year,
breathing
if you have any more left
apparatus.
over in this year's budget, they can use it too, so.
Yeah, I don't know what the delivery time is with this. They have supply chain issues as well. But you know, I originally, when I drafted this up, I was looking for a bid by the 1st of November. I can put in whatever the council would like me to put in. As far as whatever the policy, because I'm not privy to what the acquisition policy is for the town or your procedures. But if it's 2 weeks, then I say let's go 2 weeks. You know, get it out there and push 2 weeks.
Right.
The sooner the better.
And then where would we be? So, and I did say so the first line of the request for proposal should be for self-containing breathing apparatus. Right now it says breathe on. So we'll just tweak the spelling on that one. And then where will it be advertised? So if we put it out as an RFP, where will that go? So MMA.
Yeah.
Facebook website, MMA.
And then they'll probably send it out directly to a lot of the vendors,
Yeah.
because that's gonna be our quickest. way to
Right, I was
respond
just
back.
gonna say that, we just want to make sure, is there anybody
Dan
else
must
that
have
we
some
should?
idea, and you must have some idea of where.
Yeah, we've got a couple that we can provide and show.
Okay, so if we make sure. All right, does anybody else have any more questions?
No, this is great.
All right, then I
Good
make a
job.
motion that we, thank you for applying for that grant. I know that's a lot of work and we appreciate that. And to give permission to the fire department for pushing out this RFP for the town of Belgrade's request for proposal for self-containing breathing apparatuses times 17? 16 times 17.
And there's 12 additional masks. Those masks would be carried by your primary interior firefighters that they keep it in their vehicles. It's their mask, and it helps prevent the risk of cross-infection, if you will.
Yeah.
And it actually, that is one of the requirements for the National Fire Protection Association, Standard 1851, is, if you can issue everybody masks, that's great. We're just not in that position that we really need to do that. But 12 is the right number for the town, the additionals. That'll make a big difference.
All right, so if we're gonna change the date, where are we at now? So you want a full 2 weeks. So that would give you exactly 2 weeks. Do you want any additional time, do you think? Because if the RFP doesn't go out till tomorrow, do you want to push it to,
If we had it out by Friday, the 21st, due back the 4th.
yeah, then that would be 2 full weeks at that point.
Do we need to put part numbers on the RFP or?
No, the only thing you got to put down is if you want a certain brand, you're gonna have to specify brand.
Yeah, Scott.
I mean, you really don't want Draeger when we're all used to Scott, so.
Scott.
Yeah, it does say Scott in
Yeah.
here, so,
Yeah, perfect.
okay, so we'll say 10/21 to
Yeah, yeah.
11/4.
Yeah, Travis will provide the contact info for the vendors that we can send.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, if Travis or Dan wants to pop in, we
I
can.
think Dan's out of town, so have Travis.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
if Travis can just work with me, we'll finalize this and get it out as soon as possible. Sure. That's really a wonderful, that's a great agreement. Like,
We're gonna submit
that's really.
probably the peak for some personal protective equipment that I'll write that when you see it for next year.
All right, so I made the motion. Was there a second on that?
Second,
Moved and seconded. So any further discussion? Seeing none. Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
yes.
all right, 4 yeses. Thank you again. 4 yeses, 1 absent. All right, next up, we have warrants. So the first is payroll warrant, and it is warrant number 120. And,
Is it understood?
oh, hold on, here we go. They're flip-flopped in my
I put all
book.
mine in order.
All right, 17, 18, 20, and 19. Okay. And 21, 19, and 20. Okay, have a good night. Thank you. All right. Sorry, so I'm gonna take a motion to open the warrants.
So moved.
Moved by Carol, seconded by Dan. All right, those are open now for session. So the first one is warrant number 117 in the amount of $18,586.36. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and tied for second. All right. All, is there any discussion on that one? Seeing none. Barbara? Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 absent. Next up, we have warrant number 118, which is the State of Maine BMV warrant, and the amount is $7,444.98. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and tied for second. Guys are good at that tonight. All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Barbara?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 absent. Next up, we have warrant number 119. This is the AP warrant. So this is the one that if we have any questions on it, the total amount is where's my last page? $50,100.49.
Just out of curiosity, Lorna, can you pull that one up? The very first one on the Augusta Fuel off-road diesel, divide that out, see what they're charging us a gallon, so we'll know. See if he's got that number right that they gave us for.
Yeah, if we see how many gallons they They delivered.
Copper diesel, 150.2 gallons, unit price was 3.923.
So
So that's
this,
a little higher than what they,
yeah,
he said he thought he locked it in at. So
3.8.
It may be a little higher for the off-road, just because I think it's an additive in it. And it may be a winter blend,
could be the anti-gel stuff.
yeah, because right now there's no kerosene, so they can't make a winter blend. There's zero kerosene to be had. There won't be any kerosene until probably December, if there is any at that point. So I don't know what they're gonna do for winter blend.
Okay.
There's always something.
So we may have to go back when we're done with this and go back and change your motion because you.
Yeah,
locked it in
because
at that
we
price.
locked in the off-road diesel
We
as
need to
soon as
find out
that
what that
price.
number is.
So we'll check and see if it's locked in at 3.9.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, if that price, if they're gonna lock in at that price, it's not that much difference.
Right. All right, did anybody else have any other questions on this one? I wanted to know what the speed scoop was for popcorn.
The speed scoop,
Yep, there's a speed scoop for $66.
who's the,
It's under the recreation program. On page 2, it's under card member services.
I'm wondering if that's the brand name of the popcorn.
Nope, there's popcorn on a further one in with a, assuming maybe they're
Oh, you
doing.
know, I bet it is. I bet it's one of those things that has the place you put the bag on, almost like a French fry thing. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I was like, well, what is a speed scoop for
I
popcorn?
bet that's. this
Because
one
I was
is.
like, they have the popcorn maker.
I don't know why you really need to have a speed scoop.
And I'm over here like,
One, two.
right, I'm like, $66 is a lot for a speed scoop.
66?
$66 for a popcorn
66
scooper.
and change, right? Yeah, 66.36.
Yeah, because there was a speed scoop and then,
It's under recreation. So.
yeah, because it was a little further down where I saw popcorn.
Phone chargers.
I don't have anything on here for Dan for $66.
66.
It's on the credit card. Isn't it on the credit card?
Yeah, it's under card member services.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the, I've got that right here. Here we go. Great Northern All-in-One Premium Popcorn Pack and a large stainless steel speed scoop. So the popcorn was $47.85. The scoop was $15.05. Total was $66.36.
So that's
popcorn
and
and
the scoop.
and
popcorn and a
The
scoop.
scoop was only $15.
Yeah.
The scoop was only $15. Yeah.
Well, there's also popcorn under WB Mason that was bought. Why we would buy it through WB Mason, I have no idea, but it was $32.64 for popcorn.
That's cheaper than.
Well,
The
it's a
other one.
question of how much is it the same, you know? Is it the same amount, purchasing the same amount?
Because some of this stuff, like WB Mason is not the least expensive, definitely, and they do the delivery, which,
It saves you a lot of labor and gas.
yeah. But then we also have a Sam's Club
And they're
membership and
usually
it seems to be
next day.
used a lot.
Yeah.
If you can find
Yeah,
a
did you
shop-
find another popcorn one in there for
Oh, I didn't.
$32?
$32.
Yeah,
And that was on the credit.
WB Mason.
yeah, it's under WB Mason.
Bag popcorn poppers. So these were the bags. Bags to put popcorn.
All bags, put popcorn in.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. Did anybody else have any more? All right, seeing none. Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and four yeses, one absent.
Who seconded?
I will.
Okay.
I don't.
Carol.
At
Carol
this
did.
point, I don't know.
Got it.
All right, next up, we have warrant number 121, which is also a BMV. I'll take a motion to open that.
Do you have 120? There's 120, which is payroll.
That was already signed, but
Oh,
it should be. in
yep,
here
sorry.
for-
Warrant number 120 in the amount of $16,815.68. Take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Carol, seconded by Barbara. Okay, any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 absent. Now warrant number 121 in the amount of $3,975.61. That is BMV. I'll take a motion.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Barbara, seconded by Carol. And does that one need to be signed? Is that the one that came out today?
That one came out today,
Today.
the B&B warrant.
Okay, so we'll sign that one tonight. Okay. All
That
those
should
in
be in your gray.
packet right there. Okay.
folder. There's a, did you see the certificate in the middle? Yep.
Yep.
I'll go, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, all those in favor. Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Barbara. All right, 4 yeses, 1 absent.
Did Cheryl second on all these?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
There was
I
some
thought
tying
so.
going on, so. All right, 4-1.
Just moving things along.
All right. Next up, we have the town manager's report.
So we had a budget, our first budget committee meeting, October 12. We briefly discussed the creation of a public works department. And in our last ditch effort to try to secure a contract, which you all went over tonight, was the idea to send out an RFP for snowplowing to see if we could get any interest. An update on the feral cats. I spoke with Buzz. He has a group out of Buckfield working on that, so
Do we know, I did put a note in here, what's the name of it?
I may have it,
Because I know there's a feral cat association
because
that
I
the,
had to chuckle when he said Buckfield.
the animal welfare had mentioned, and
That's pretty amazing. About 15 cats already.
But there are still more.
Yeah, there's still.
There's a lot.
well, I'm sure
no one's
everybody over
feeding 'em
there
now,
is
right?
happy.
Have they
To
stopped
my
eating
knowledge,
it?
no. To my knowledge, no.
My understanding, they want to keep 8 of them.
If they're all spayed,
They're gonna, supposedly this foundation's gonna spade and neuter them
yeah, so,
if they can catch them.
So the organization, their email address, okay, and the website, Community Cat Advocates. So they do have a website, communitycatadvocates.com, and they are out of Buckfield, they're a nonprofit.
and they're gonna take them all?
They caught 29 kittens, 30 adults. They get them spayed, neutered, and I'm assuming they may adopt them out or rehome them or something like that. They'll continue to catch. And I believe he said the homeowner was going to keep 2 or 3, but those will be spayed, neutered. So there's,
Because he said they want to keep 8.
They want to keep 8.
oh, 8.
And it's supposedly that,
They'll have to be spayed, neutered though.
supposedly that program is gonna, then people are gonna have them, if they can catch them.
Yeah,
have them
they'll-
spaded and
yeah.
neutered.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and that will be the condition that they get to keep any of them. I'll have to have them spayed.
So we probably have got to have something in. Do we have a process where we put something in writing if we've gone in to assist with a feral cat situation, and if the homeowner wants to keep some of them, we probably should have some sort of a legal document that says that the town has taken steps X, Y, and Z to eradicate this feral cat situation.
See,
And,
the problem is they moved out, and that's the problem, we're all dealing with it.
right,
Right, I mean, there's probably no idea exactly how many there are.
No, I mean, we had one of the cats and kittens, and they've all of a sudden disappeared. I mean, the kittens were too small to even think, and that cat, another cat was so ugly that. But
Do
they're
you want
gone
me to
now.
check with Phil on it?
well, or why don't we check with Buzz while he's still the animal control officer, like, what do we need to do legally to make sure that the steps that we've taken?
I'm not sure if you can do much without getting the state involved,
Right.
Well, that's what we were trying to do, is get the state involved.
but I'm just saying, I don't think you can tell somebody they can't keep the cats. Or require them to do something without having the state involved in a court order.
I was just
don't know
gonna
if you can
say,
keep cats anyways, because you don't have an ordinance, there's no real
There's
law.
no
for
licensing,
cats.
there's,
Right.
Yeah.
so I can have
Cats
to
is
find out
tough-
what we can
tough
do.
animal.
cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Cats and rabbits.
I mean, if they say they're gonna keep 8, they may end up with 28. Who knows?
Right. Okay. So there, on to the next thing.
Do the best we can.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's huge, because I'm sure everybody over there, when they were said that there were at least 100 cats, and then some were like, it's gonna be 200 by next year. Easily.
So at your last meeting, you gave direction to interview with a candidate or applicant for animal control officer, and I did. I met with Jeff, and we had a really good conversation, a lot of questions, and he is super interested. I think he'll do a great job. Obviously very conscientious. So we did offer that, but of course, he knows that the board has final approval. That will be your decision if you choose to appoint him tonight. And that would only be effective until December 31, because the appointment is annual. So it would be December 31, then you would be able to reappoint or appoint again January 1. That's up to the board. And I have spoken with Buzz about it, that you were finalizing the decision tonight. We're still in need of a local health officer. I did get another name and contact information for someone that I will follow up with tomorrow.
And did we get anything from the Board of Nursing? So one of the people that we had mentioned at the last meeting, we contacted her. She isn't able to do it, but she did wonder if the town was able to get a list from the Board of Nursing on registered nurses who reside in the town of Belgrade, that we could solicit perhaps with a letter saying that the town needs a health officer.
I don't
I know
have a
we
list,
checked
but I
with-
think,
You checked with
Listening.
Travis, and he said no, but I was surprised at how many people had EMT training at the fire department, looking at that piece.
I don't,
Maybe, I don't know if any of the other EMTs might be interested if you don't have success with the person you're calling.
I can check with them, check with Dan.
The biggest problem you're gonna have there is a lot of phone calls with that, and we do a lot of calls. So they're not, they're probably not going to take that, I'm speaking kind of for them, I don't think they'd be interested in taking that on, because you're already on call 24/7 anyways. That's the main reason why a lot of people don't want to take that health officer, it's a lot of phone calls. You field a lot of phone calls, and
Jen got a lot of them, so I didn't realize that they got that many of them.
and $400 is not enough money for what they take for phone calls.
That we bumped them to 5. But then last year we paid 1,000 because we paid 2. Now if we have another one, we'll be paying 1,500.
And I really, the other place checks, maybe the health center. I don't know if anybody's contacted the health center, see if there's anybody there that would be
Yeah.
interested in taking it.
That's a good idea, Bruce. You're social man.
And the other one person we can contact to see if he knows anybody who might be Tim Pay. See if he knows anybody in this area that might be interested in it.
Like him or his wife.
He's over in Rome.
Yeah.
But you don't have to live in
No,
Belgrade.
but I don't, and as a, he won't even take anything, we ain't doing any rescue or anything with the fire department, because I think he's worried more about liability type stuff,
So
so.
it goes a lot of calls.
Yeah. He'll do that, but he won't take any compensation for it. He doesn't want to be on the books for it, so.
Is that Tim you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, P-I-E-H.
He's a doctor, he's over in Rome.
And he's a-
He works over in the emergency room in Augusta, I think still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an
Yeah.
additional.
And his
I
wife's
remember her
his
thing.
wife's a physician.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not here tonight.
Right, his
Yeah.
age.
Hey, Lorna.
But he might know somebody, or a nurse at the hospital or
Where
something.
these went?
We're all anonymous.
They're all gone.
They're in the drawer, opposite, right behind the head.
I don't know, I didn't touch them.
Maybe
I just
someone
was
took 'em out
like-
for a different
I
meeting.
realized
Oh,
that one was
probably
naked
for
and
the,
then-
Meeting,
Candidates
so-
forum, maybe,
Oh, candidates forum, we had a budget meeting.
yeah.
I just was looking around. I was like, well, these were all naked. So then I was like, yeah, they're all naked.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, the communications committee held a candidate forum, which was very well attended and went super smooth. The girls did a fantastic job putting that together. The cost sharing meeting, we're still waiting on confirmation.
To go back to the candidate forum, was that recorded?
No, I don't know why.
So it was supposed to be. And there was a snafu.
Uh,
So Gina didn't know if she had to do anything different for the recording. So it was left. They thought it was recording because they started the meeting, and like this one started recording immediately, but it didn't record, which stinks because I really wanted to see it.
Because I was able to see part of it, but
I didn't get home from work till 7:45, so I was like psyched that I was gonna get to see it and then couldn't. So that's a bummer.
The cost sharing meeting, we're still waiting on confirmation for a date. I believe we have 2 folks who may commit. They're considering. We move something prior to your November 1 meeting, so I can put those names forth to you.
So
and when is it, has there been a date for that meeting? Because I know it keeps getting used.
They had originally scheduled it November 3, but we don't have names yet for anybody who will do it, so they're waiting on us, basically.
well, and the fact that they scheduled it, yeah. Just leave it at that.
In the front office, absentee voting has been brisk. I love that Mary has the little conference room set up, and so it's really easy for folks to get their ballot. They'll either take it home, but a ton of them utilize that room and go in and
Yeah.
vote right there, and it's really convenient. Great idea. I've given you a list of upcoming meetings, and that is it.
All right. And I'm guessing you're getting a new camera strap.
You see this?
There's a little thing in there about a camera strap.
Oh. No, I didn't. Yes, I would like a new camera strap.
I laughed when I saw that.
Oh, thank you. That's my Christmas wish list for Mr. Nichols. New camera strap.
All right.
Yeah, I've been sending out postcards to all the absentee ballot people, because we get, I get a list from the state. And so far, I got a stack of postcards back, which is amazes me because I get a sticker on it that says, not able to deliver as addressed. So I want to know where their ballot's going,
Oh,
because I'm using the same address that the state's providing me.
Duh.
do you think people have moved, or?
I
maybe
think,
they're
I think
not
all of the towns aren't keeping up, and when they come in and ask them, say, is this your current
keeping
address?
up with voter
You know, do you now have a post office box or something?
Right.
because I've got a stack of stuff in my back of my desk at the house, undeliverable stuff.
So do we need to act on the animal control officer tonight?
Yeah, so what we should do with that, Lorna, from now on is have that as an actual agenda item if we are approving the hiring of someone who will then be appointed especially, because that's an actionable item.
So, Buzz is helping out with the feral cat situation. If we appoint a new animal control officer, is that going to interrupt that ongoing activity? I mean, should we wait
Likely,
another,
likely.
I don't know, that's my question. If not, I should go ahead and do it. But
Jeff could speak with Buzz and get updates. And the interim contract for ACO does stipulate almost like a deputy ACO for when you're not available to take calls, you're away, a vacation or whatever. And Jeff had actually asked me that if Buzz might be interested in being a deputy or a backup for him if he weren't available. That's, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Buzz is interested in the permanent position. Right now, he's only under an agreement as interim. And so he asked that I share that with you, that he's interested, if we put that out there, that he's interested in the permanent position as well.
So one thing I do want to make sure that we check is there was, I don't know if it was in a memo here, but it said that the town did not own any equipment to give to the ACO. That is false.
We did at one point.
So we did at one point, and when Trisha Davis took it over, she complained that she didn't have any equipment, and we purchased at the time the equipment that the state recommended. So somebody needs to give it back to the town, because then she was supposed to have moved some forward, I assume, to Buzz. I know she did complain about the trap, and then she told somebody else that she had a trap, I have a heart trap stolen. I don't know if it was the town's trap, but she told me that the trap we gave her was 100 years old. And apparently must have come with Jamie Minot or something.
Who was the ACO prior to Tricia? They
So
would be
Buzz,
the person, they
It was
would be the
Buzz.
one to have the equipment. I asked Buzz if there were any equipment. He said he did not receive any equipment and that Tricia didn't receive any equipment.
so I remember us talking about purchasing her the equipment because we had to make sure she was supposed to give the town like what she was supposed to have for the state, and then we were going to provide that equipment. And
that's something Nick can check back, and how long ago?
it was a couple of years. So, but if not, we're going to need to make sure that we have what equipment that they'll need.
When Denny was in here, not that long ago, he said that they lost.
Next year.
Right, and I remember Denny, we talked about it with Denny.
Hey, you guys bought it, you guys proved it on the warrant.
Right,
Proved it.
right. Because I remember we were like, what do you mean we don't have? Okay, well, let's make sure, you know, you gotta have certain gloves and you gotta have the trap and you gotta
You gotta
have,
catch pole.
yeah, you gotta have catch pole and things like that. So,
It's almost $1,000 worth of stuff.
yeah. So, and I guess if we have to repurchase it, we need to make sure that it has Town of Belgrade prominently all over it, every which way from the
And
summit.
not only that, have somebody sign for it.
It's gonna actually be signed out, right?
You know, whoever the animal control officers, you sign for his equipment. When you're not, if and when you get done, it has to be returned.
Right, and if
So the
not,
town will issue the equipment
Right.
to
yes,
the ACO,
But technically,
yes,
right?
technically by Maine state law, every one of them traps has to have the town's name
Oh.
and a phone number by Maine state law. And in which I can tell you, any of the traps that they've ever set around my area never has anybody's name on it. And it has to have that state law. I mean, you go out and grab the trap, you know,
right,
any habitat traps have to have a name and phone number, in case any animals in it. And
we should put Apple tags on them. Oh, I'm sorry, is our trap at your home? I don't believe you're our animal control officer. All right, and what about training for the animal control officer? Is there a cost involved to
There's like
that?
a $50 fee. It's a state sponsored training, we can get him signed up. Use his email, it's online training. $50.
Yeah,
He has the manual. Yeah, the town, because he does not work for any other town. So if he were ACO in other towns, we could split the cost between the towns, but he doesn't. He would be just us.
Oh, we
So
did
it's a
suggest,
$50
because when Tricia got done, there were 2 other towns that she was dealing with. So there's the potential there for coordinated ACO efforts between towns if need be. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, do we have anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Did you want to appoint?
Oh, sorry, yes. I'm like, yeah, there is something else. Hold on a second.
Sorry.
All right, do you have the contract there? Is it in here? Okay, the Town of Belgrade contract agreement for animal control officer from October 18 to 2022 to December 31, 2022. We'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of Jeff Worthing as the animal control officer for the town of Belgrade from 10/18/22 to 12/31/2022, and follow that as that he will be appointed. We should do the appointment maybe at the next one. Should we have? So approve the hiring of him, and then at our next meeting, should we appoint him? Or just do it all in one?
Yeah, we'll do it all in
One fell
one.
thing,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's my motion. That we hire him and appoint him. All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
all right, 4 yeses, 1 absent. Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded.
Do we want to see if Buzz or whatever his name is wants to be the backup one? Because obviously he was interested in the full time, which we just appointed somebody else.
And I make a recommendation, if you're gonna have, if you do a backup one, you better say for a backup. Because throughout the state,
Yeah.
it's a problem throughout the state. If you
I'd,
can get a
I'd like to
backup-
continue with him as a backup right now and have him be asked to be the primary contact on the feral cat since he's already dealing with it. You know, and then you can have Jeff come in with him.
I think we have,
I don't,
Melanie,
Yes.
would you look at that contract? I believe what we have paid hourly if needed was 15 an hour. We also pay mileage. So you could almost look at the backup as being paid hourly, or I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
would
yeah,
also
if
get
he gets
mileage,
called
just-
out, as a backup, if you get called out, you still get paid your mileage and the hour,
Right.
but
So we have Mr. Worthing receive 15, monthly total of $360.83 for services. We'll reimburse any mileage at the existing state rate. $15 per hour plus mileage at the existing state rate for any dog warrants that he issues, for any time spent in court
This is
cases.
from the time they leave their house until they return to their house. How do you figure hourly? I'm just asking.
I believe, I was doing, it, that's how I would be getting paid.
It would be no different than fire or EMT or anything.
yeah, I guess, I
like
mean,
that,
basically they go by the tone out times,
Tell
right?
now,
And then when you're clear, so I mean, we don't get paid to go
Buzz
home,
is
but
further
it's
away, so
close
it's a
enough.
longer, more of a cost.
But the hourly rate then also would start.
If he
maybe-
needs to go out,
The hourly rate would start.
if it's just a phone call
Yeah.
to respond to something, that's not a stipend.
Just a question, who picks up dead animals? Is
Yeah,
it the animal control or is it the state?
if it's a wild animal, animal control has nothing to do with it.
Right,
Okay.
a deer or something like that, that's the state,
DOT.
call DEW first.
Okay, I just was
And a
curious.
game warden.
Yeah.
if DEW doesn't mind.
Domestic, it's our animal control,
Right.
which could be anything from a cat to a cow
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Or horse.
or a horse.
Or more.
Or a
Yeah.
horse on the
Yeah.
windshield up in front of Cookie's Mill there.
Yeah.
That's a few years ago, we had to pull a horse out of the inside of a car.
Oh,
Oh, good. I'm over here like horse on a windshield. What?
Oh, yeah. One
What
right on
memo
top of,
did I
right on
miss?
top of the guy,
I know
folded that seat
traveling,
right backwards.
traveling from my house to work in Waterville, over a few years, I came across 2 horses hit.
Yeah, this was a
at
really
different
foggy
times. I
morning.
felt
Yeah,
horrible.
very foggy, about five,
Oh,
5:30 in the morning. Yes, breaking daylight.
I've always told them,
Yeah, that wasn't a fun
Mr.
one.
Nichols won't let me.
Put it on your Christmas wish list.
It's bad enough we have 3 dogs, we can't really go anywhere for more than 6 or 8 hours.
I'm feeling there.
Oh, this
Dee
is
Dee,
bad.
you have a mini Aussie, or you have an Aussie? don't
I
you?
have a full-sized one, yeah.
Dee Dee went and had her foo-foo appointment today. To beauty parlor, yes.
Yeah, Winnie loves to be blow dried. So I think she purposely goes to the pool and then she's like, hello.
Uh-huh.
And when I'm drying my hair in the morning, she comes and hangs out and I have to dry her too. I'm like, you're
Oh, I
not
was
even
gonna
wet.
say, there's no warrant here.
Oh,
Night, Bruce.
Good night, all.
Thank you, Bruce.
Good
Good night.